While cleaning our room at a whim, I came across a few unfamiliar books. School Revolution, Sukuru Beo, Volume 1. Sure, I pronounced that completely right. It was Kyosuke's. I had ended up not reading it after I borrowed it. In addition to that, when did I buy this? It was a mystery novel. I flipped through the pages and realized that I knew the story. Did I borrow this from somebody? I couldn't recall exactly. No big deal, I guess. Holidays were not supposed to be this quiet. I had barely seen Misato or Kingo all day. And it was already evening before I knew it. When I got into bed, I heard Misato already slumbering in his bunk. I tried to remember what had happened today. It felt like it went by way faster recently. I couldn't fall asleep hearing Misato's tranquil breathing. I recalled that I used to listen to the radio when I had trouble falling asleep like this a long time ago. In the dead of night, I would turn on my radio and concentrate on the voices coming from my earphones. Occasionally, a distorted, random, foreign talk show would cut into the regular programming. Fucking foreigners. But then that already distant and soft voices would distort the trail off due to the wind or the weather. I sometimes had a sudden desire to try and find the injecting transmission. I would quickly flip through the channels over and over again, searching for voices I'd heard. I felt that, by some chance, I might have been the only person listening to that program at that moment in the entire world. If that was the case, I wanted to reassure the host that without a doubt someone was listening to them right now. That fact comforted me and allowed me to relax. And before I knew it, the night would be over. However, the older I had grown, the less time I had spent listening to the radio, because I had befriended people who were closer by than voices on the radio. I wonder if there was still somebody trying to send their voice out across to someone like my old self. I hadn't listened to the radio for a while, so I thought I would tune in for a little while. And I decided to search the room for my portable radio. But it had been so long since I had last used it that I couldn't recall where I'd stored it. I eventually gave up on finding the radio, still unable to fall asleep. I instead started sorting my memories of the past few days. It had been a fairly uneventful week. Nothing had happened. But it's something in my heart, which was trying to tell me that this week had been strange, because nothing had happened. It was similar to the bits of the static that can sometimes be heard on the radio. It didn't really interfere with the broadcast, but it was just a little annoying. It was that kind of negligible noise. As the receiver of the radio itself, the radio itself was operating normally, yet the frequency that was received was a little bit warped. Even though I had been here, as I had always been, the world around me had suddenly changed. Such aimless thoughts crossed my mind. I could hear Masato snoring. Damn, how I envy Masato's easy sleeping. I woke up feeling awful, though it felt like something truly unpleasant had been bothering me until a moment ago. Whatever it was had already faded just beyond recollection, as though it were a dream. Ugh.
Yo, 今日は低血圧だな。
Yeah, I couldn't get any sleep. Even talking to Masato wasn't making me feel any better. I thought it was going. Something's off.
おい、そろそろ行かないとやばいぞ。
He started getting ready for school after breakfast, but I couldn't find a textbook I needed for one of today's classes. I could have sworn that I had it in the last lecture. Where'd I put it? Masato, any idea where it might be?
さあな。
I didn't think it would be there, but just in case I checked the bag I use on weekends as well. There were 3 paperback books inside. None of them were what I was looking for. I was about to move when I stopped cold. What the fuck's this book? Because I noticed that one of the 3 books looked like it had been read over and over again. Did I have a book like this? Well, I knew I was running out of time. I couldn't help but open the book. I flipped through the pages. The worn book it felt as though the pages could fall out if treated carelessly. It was a Tonka poem collection. I wonder where I've heard that before. I could make out the slightly blurred letters reading Bokyu Sui Wakayama poem collection on the back of the book. For a moment I suspected that it might have been a prank, an elaborate prank by Masato. After flipping through a few more pages, something stopped my finger. I'd reached the page with the corner creased from having been opened countless times. At the same time, I felt something tugging at my heartstrings. The very first poem on the page caught my eye. Bird with wings of white. I wonder, is she not sad? Left alone, never touched. By the blue of yonder sky or the blue of hither sea. It was a famous poem which I remembered learning about in Japanese class, so I wasn't surprised that I recognized it. But was that really all? Was there something? There should be something more important memories about it. I wanted to become a white bird. That's what I was longing to be. There was a girl who had described that poem as her hope. This book is myself. Her name was Mio Nishizono. How could I have forgotten her until now? Nishizono! Masato, what's happened to Nishizono?
西園？西園がどうかしたのか？
I mean, she hasn't come to school lately. What astonished me wasn't just the reality that she had been absent from school for the last few days. It's that everything just glazes on as if she never existed. But the fact that I'd even forgotten that fact.
そうだったか？
He answered as if it was merely a point of idle curiosity, in contrast with myself who was thrown into complete turmoil.
この前見かけた気がするぞ。お前の勘違いだろ。それよりも今思い出したんだが。
What is it?
お前が探してる教科書はこの前ケンゴとやり合うときに俺が勝手に借りた。あの教科書は勇敢に戦ってくれたぞ。悪い悪い。
That's not important now.
教室に置いてあるから行ったら返してやれる。さあ早く行こうぜ。
Sure. Though I had an ocean of worries, I left the room as per his suggestion. Everything would be clear once I get to school. I questioned Kengo, who was already in the classroom.
西園がどうかしたのか？
His reaction was very similar to Masato's. Did you come to school this past week? I asked Masato, but he didn't remember for sure.
マサトは散歩歩けば忘れる鶏頭だからな。そいつに聞いても無駄だ。俺はしっかり覚えているぞ。西園だろ？どうだったかな。これは決して忘れているわけじゃない。ただちょっと思い出せないだけだ。
それを忘れてるって言うんだぜ。
Even their usual dialogue only irritated me at the moment. Cut it out. Just tell me what happened to her.
どうかしたのか、リキ。どうしたも何もない。別にどうもしないだろう。
That's why no one's heard from her.
確か。
Just at that moment he was about to say something further, somebody opened the door. It was a brisk voice. Through the morning babble of the other classmates, I could finally single out the voice I'd been wanting to hear all along. That's Midori.
お、噂をすればだ。
It's not Mio. That's Midori. Without waiting for Kingo's next words, I turned in the direction the voice had come from. The one my eyes caught was Nishizono. No, it wasn't her. The girl there did resemble her, but she wasn't Nishizono. I knew who she was. She was Midori, who'd appeared right in front of us at the sunset the other day. Midori. Without thinking, I abruptly shouted.
やだな、リキ君。朝からいきなり大声出したりしたら恥ずかしいよ。
She, on the other hand, answered in a composed manner. Cocking her head slightly to the side, the girl next in Midori gave a meaningful nod.
直江君って意外と大胆なのね。西園さんが羨ましいな。
This is weird.
そんなことあるよね。
Why'd they switch places? She glanced toward me and laughed. After that, Midori started chatting with the other girls, as if it was a given. As if she had been one of the class since forever. She had blended in with the rest.
なんだよリキ。西園のことを気にしていたから何かと思えば付き合ってられねえ。
まったくだ。珍しくマサトと意見の一致を見たな。
Wait a minute.
そろそろ授業が始まる。話ならまた後だ。
A bell rang as though responding to his words. At once, the teacher stepped in, and all the other students sat at their desks. Naturally, I also went back to my desk, giving up on any further conversation. The resonant voice of the teacher echoed throughout the classroom. The rattling sound generated by the pencils of other classmates, the huddled whispers passing between some girls, the music leaking out of the earphones worn by a half-sleeping guy. That was all familiar class scenery, which I'd experienced over and over again. I had not had any doubts about it until now. A month ago, 2 weeks ago, even 2 days ago. It felt as though it had been 100 years since last week. When did we play our match? It was quietly difficult recalling that. I tried to look at the corner of the room, and I saw Midori yawn lightly. Noticing her eyes on her, she waved at me with a grin. I found myself waving back at her.
ほら、直江、何をやっとるか。
Unluckily, my move was caught by the teacher, who reprimanded me lightly. A small amount of laughter arose from the class. Midori was part of the chorus.
じゃ、今の続きは直江に読んでもらおうか。
I stood up and read my assigned bit in a markedly loud voice. This was entirely Midori's fault. I decided to give her a piece of my mind afterward. It felt as though this was a very normal occurrence, that everything I felt was real. But if this was real, there should be no need to question why it did not agree with the past. The past existed only within memory. No. The past was exactly what I remember. Mio Nishizono. I did know that name. I groped inside my desk. I then grabbed hold of a book I had brought from the dorm. I did know who the owner of the book was. I did know a girl who was fond of reading books under the Zelkova tree in the courtyard. I did know that girl wasn't Midori. I did remember everything. The endless feeling, first period, was finally over. Above all, I had to confirm something. As soon as the recess began, Midori went out of the classroom with another girl. It was Ito, who had found Nishizono's missing book. The two girls left the room laughing cheerfully. Masato, can I ask you a strange question?
ああ、いいぜ。変な質問に関しては得意な方だ。
No, your thing is strange answers. Yeah, that seems about right. Anyway, do you think Nishizono has been Nishizono all along?
おっと、予想以上に変な質問だぜ。
Hey, you wanted a fucking strange question.
さっきも西園のことで何か言ってたな。
You're complaining again? Gengo Karen.
西園はずっと西園だろ。他の誰かに変わるなんてあるわけがない。
Are you sure about that? Then who's that Nishizono?
誰って西園美桜だろ。 我らがリトルバスターズの優秀なマネージャーだ。
Where's her parasol? Mio, isn't she Midori?
緑？誰だそれは。リキ、お前の言うことはさっぱりわからん。
What kind of fuck timeline did I enter?
そういえばさっき西園が教室に入ってきた時にそんな風に呼んでたな。
Which she responded to, but I guess everyone's just gonna ignore that. Then her name is Mio Nishizono, correct?
なりき、お前本当に大丈夫か？
I'm fine, everyone else is fucked. I'm sure I'm at least saner than somebody dressed in such a jumper day and night.
この前倒れたのは1週間くらい前だったな。あの時は何ともないと言ってたが、本当は頭でも打ったんじゃないのか？
I know I keep on bugging you about this, but don't you guys really know anything about Midori Nishizono?
ほんとしつっこいな。っていうか、わけわかんねえ。緑ってのは誰だ？西園の妹か？
No. Then you guys don't know who Midori is. I said in a forceful tone.
おう。
He shook his head, seemingly stupefied by my unexpectedly aggressive attitude.
西園の口から聞いたこともねえぞ。なあ。
Gengo also shook his head in agreement with Masato. Okay. The two guys cast concerned glances to me, who had suddenly fallen silent. I was too bewildered to respond to them at that moment. But even after the second class started, things didn't change. Midori was sitting at the desk nearest to the door. The teacher in charge of the second period seemed to take it for granted, as well that she was there. It was no wonder, because the female student at the desk was the one he recognized as Nishizono. She was existing as Mio Nishizono in this class. I didn't see any outward differences in the way others behaved. Apparently I was the only one who had realized that this girl was in fact Nishizono. Was not, in fact. Who was in the wrong here? Me? Or everyone else? Everyone else. Masato asked me to go to the cafeteria for lunch, but I turned him down and headed for the courtyard instead. If by some chance I might be able to see Nishizono out there, you're not going to. I made my way to the yard in such a feeble hope. Ren? I found Ren there. She was leaning on the tall tree. Can you please tell me what's going on? How rare. You're eating lunch out here? Or were you not waiting for me? Despite denying it, she didn't sound sure of herself. Did something happen? Eh? Ren, you know what it is. However, her answer wasn't that what I had craved to hear. Thank you. I wanted to tell her that. That girl was Midori, not Mio. But she too would believe such a crazy claim. Have you always been friendly?
あまりよく覚えてない。今朝教室でミオに会って突然これまでのことを思い出したような、そんな変な感じが。私何バカなことを言ってるんだ。ごめん、忘れてくれ。
It's okay, but if you were to told that she's not Nishizono you used to know, would you believe it? I was hoping she could possibly remember the truth. But a puzzled frown formed on her face.
それは信じない。私は覚えている。野球の練習もこの前の試合のこともみんなでやったこと、ミオと一緒に遊んだことを覚えてる。そのミオがミオじゃないとしたら、私は自分の記憶を疑わなくちゃいけなくなる。ミオのことだけじゃない。もっと昔、リキたちとの大切な昔の思い出まで。だから、たとえリキの言葉でも、それは信じない。
Her words weighed heavily on my heart. Did nobody else feel what I was feeling? If they were all wrong and only I was correct, wouldn't that be exactly equivalent to them all being correct and only I was wrong? Yeah, but they're all wrong, so that means I'm right. It's different.
リキ、私たちは子供の頃から一緒だった。私と京介、マサトとケンゴ、そしてリキの5人はずっと同じ時間を過ごしてた。でも、いつの間にか違ってしまった。
Ren? I couldn't mistake the sadness in her voice. She shook her head as I called her name.
勘違いするな。それはきっと悪いことじゃない。多分、私にとっても、私がリキのことを一番知ってるって思ってた。でも、もうそうじゃない。ミオは私の知らないリキを知ってる。リキは私が知らないミオを知ってる。だから、リキの思い出を信じろ。
Okay. Okay.
リキが何に悩んでるのかはわからない。どうして今のミオが別人だなんて言うのか理解できない。それが私とリキの距離。じゃあ、お弁当食べよう、リキ。
Sure. For the first time in a long while, Ren and I ate lunch together. Midori left the classroom right after the last class was over.
直江くん、今日は一緒に帰らないんだね。
Shut up and leave me alone. With who?
ミオに決まってるじゃんか。
What?
喧嘩でもしたんじゃないの？
No. According to their memory, it seemed that I was always used to leave school with her together. This was the past that belonged to them. I decided to pay a visit to the girls' dorm. I succeeded in getting into the building without any trouble. I knocked on the door of Nishizono's room. Despite another few additional taps, no one answered. Well, you already know who's going to if someone is going to answer. Against my expectations, the doorknob never turned when I tried it. There's going to be no books, nothing. I'm coming in, I called out weakly. Silence. Nishizono? Even though I felt a little bad about looking around in someone else's room, and a girl's for that matter. In their absence, I didn't have any time to mind such things. Midori? On the desk was an upturned open book. It looked as though somebody had been reading it just a moment earlier. I recognized the title of the book. A girl drawn with pastel colors. It was the same book as the one I had bought during the date the other day. It was one of the books I had found in my weekend bag this morning. Why would it be here? My copy definitely was still in my room. Therefore, no one here had to belong. The one here had to belong to one inhabiting this room. This is Nishizono. She could have lent it me it if she already had a copy. Yet she had not said a word. Why not? I was more and more certain now that she had already known that she wouldn't set foot in this room ever again. That must have been the truth. I looked around the room one more time. Who is reading the book on that desk now? Did the reader really exist in the first place? It wasn't just the resident. I couldn't find any trace of the books I had seen when I was last here anywhere either. Maybe she had stuffed them into the closet again, but the closet looked perfectly normal when I looked at it. Fucking open it. Even after a close examination, there didn't appear to be any signs of it that it was overstuffed. Or those books might never have been in this room from the start. Is nobody really here? I asked obvious in order to make certain, and sure enough, nobody answered. I'd assumed that I would be able to find something out in this room. For crying out loud. Somebody, nobody, no, anybody. Please tell me that the girl isn't Nishizono. But who on earth is the girl that everyone believes is Nishizono? No matter where my thoughts wandered, I eventually came back to the riddle. The girl who resembled Nishizono and had introduced herself as Midori Nishizono against the setting sun that day. The girl who was now acknowledged as Mio Nishizono by all of her classmates apart from me, by Masato, Kengo, and even Ren. That was an undisputable truth. Although I waited for another couple of minutes, the tenant didn't show up. As I didn't want to stay in the girls' dorm for much longer, I ended up returning to mine.